In the shadowed corridors of tomorrow's digital empire, where artificial intelligence reigns supreme as the ultimate overlord, a silent revolution is unfolding. One that hinges not on lines of code or silicon chips alone, but on an ancient, gleaming metal forged in the hearts of stars billions of years ago. Picture this. Colossal data centers humming like living organisms across vast, arid landscapes, devouring electricity equivalent to entire nations, all to fuel the insatiable hunger of AI models that predict our every move, create art from thin air, and solve riddles that have baffled humanity for centuries. Yet beneath this technological marvel lies a vulnerability so profound it could reshape global economies. Silver, the unsung hero of conductivity and thermal mastery, is running scarce. As AI positions itself as the final boss in the game of human progress, experts whisper of an inevitable surge. A guaranteed ascent to $200 per ounce, driven inexorably by the explosive growth of these data behemoths. This is no mere speculation. It's a collision of innovation and scarcity, where the price of progress is etched in precious metal, and the stakes could redefine wealth, power, and the very future of our wired world. As we delve deeper into this narrative, let's journey back to the origins of silver's quiet dominance. A story that spans millennia, yet finds its most explosive chapter in the AI era. Long before the first computer flickered to life, silver was revered by ancient civilizations, the Egyptians adorning their pharaohs with it, the Romans minting coins that built empires, and alchemists chasing its luster in futile quests for gold. But it was in the industrial age that silver truly revealed its prowess, emerging as the world's premier conductor of electricity and heat, surpassing even copper in efficiency for high-stakes applications. Fast forward to the 21st century, and silver has woven itself into the fabric of modern life. From the photovoltaic cells capturing sunlight in solar panels to the intricate wiring in smartphones that connect billions. Yet, nothing has accelerated its demand quite like the rise of artificial intelligence. A force that began as a whisper in research labs but has erupted into a global phenomenon, with companies like OpenAI, Google, and Nvidia pouring trillions into infrastructure that demands unprecedented quantities of this metal. Imagine the scale. By 2025, AI investments have already topped $1 trillion annually. Much of it funneled into hyperscale data centers, vast warehouses of servers stacked like digital skyscrapers, each one a voracious consumer of resources. These centers aren't just buildings. They're ecosystems pulsating with energy, where silver plays multiple starring roles, ensuring that the AI brains within operate at peak efficiency without melting under their own computational fire. To grasp why silver is indispensable to AI's ascent, we must peer inside these data fortresses, where the metal's unique properties become the linchpin of performance. At the heart of every AI system lies the graphics processing unit, or GPU, a powerhouse chip designed for parallel processing that enables machines to learn from vast datasets, generating everything from lifelike images to predictive algorithms that forecast stock markets or diagnose diseases. Within these GPUs, silver is embedded in the form of conductive pastes and solders, forming microscopic pathways that shuttle electrons at lightning speeds, minimizing resistance and heat buildup that could otherwise throttle performance. Consider Nvidia's latest H100 GPUs, clusters of which form the backbone of AI training farms. Each chip incorporates silver in its interconnects and thermal interfaces, where its 7% superior heat transfer over copper ensures that temperatures remain stable even as computations ramp up to trillions per second. Beyond the chips themselves, silver permeates the circuit boards and capacitors that populate server racks, acting as the ultimate signal carrier to prevent data loss in the high-frequency environments of AI workloads. In cooling systems, critical for data centers that generate heat equivalent to small cities, silver-infused heat sinks and thermal pastes dissipate energy efficiently, allowing servers to run non-stop without catastrophic failures. And let's not overlook the power infrastructure. As data centers increasingly turn to renewable sources to offset their enormous carbon footprints, solar panels blanketing rooftops or adjacent fields rely on silver paste to convert sunlight into electricity, with each panel consuming grams of the metal in its photovoltaic layers. This symbiotic relationship amplifies demand exponentially. A single hyperscale data center might require tons of silver across its hardware and energy systems, and with projections estimating over 1,000 new such facilities by 2030 to support AI's growth. The strain on global supplies becomes palpably urgent. The emotional weight of this boom hits home when we consider the human stories intertwined with AI's relentless expansion, tales of innovation clashing with environmental and economic realities. Think of the engineers in Silicon Valley, toiling through sleepless nights to optimize AI models that promise to cure cancers or combat climate change, unaware that their creations are quietly depleting a finite resource mined from remote corners of the earth. Or the miners in Bolivia's Potosi, descendants of colonial laborers who once extracted silver under brutal conditions, now facing modern pressures as demand surges and deposits dwindle. These narratives add layers of suspense to our story. Will humanity's quest for godlike intelligence outpace the planet's ability to provide? Data paints a vivid picture of this tension. In 2025 alone, global silver demand reached 1.12 billion ounces, with industrial applications, led by electronics and renewables, accounting for over 60%, a figure propelled by AI's voracious needs. The International Energy Agency warns that data center electricity consumption could double to 945 terawatt hours by 2030, with AI claiming half of that share, translating to billions in infrastructure investments that embed silver at every level. Meanwhile, the Silver Institute's World Silver Survey highlights a fifth consecutive year of structural deficits, where mine production lags behind consumption by hundreds of millions of ounces annually. As AI companies like Microsoft and Amazon announce plans for mega data centers powered by nuclear or solar to handle the computational deluge, each announcement sends ripples through commodity markets, pushing silver prices from $30 per ounce at the year's start to over $65 by December, a staggering 120% gain that outpaces even gold's rally. Building on this foundation, let's explore the explosive trajectory of AI itself, a force that has transformed from niche experiment to existential imperative, dragging silver along for the ride. The seeds were planted in the 1950s with Alan Turing's visionary questions about machine thought. But it wasn't until the 2010s that deep learning breakthroughs, fueled by abundant data and cheap computing, unleashed AI's potential. Today, generative models like GPT-4o process petabytes of information, requiring data centers that span football fields. Each server drawer crammed with silver-laced components to handle the load. Suspense mounts as we consider the numbers. Goldman Sachs predicts AI could add $7 trillion to global GDP by 2030. But at what cost? The energy alone is staggering. Training a single large language model consumes as much power as 100,000 households for a year. And scaling that to millions of inferences daily demands robust, silver-dependent hardware to prevent bottlenecks. Edge computing, where AI runs on devices closer to users, further amplifies this. Think autonomous vehicles or smart factories, all relying on silver and sensors and processors for real-time decisions. Emotional highs emerge in stories of triumph, like AI accelerating drug discovery during pandemics, saving countless lives, yet shadowed by the irony that such progress accelerates resource depletion, transitions smoothly into the green energy nexus. To sustain this power hunger sustainably, data giants are pivoting to renewables, with Google aiming for 24/7 carbon-free energy by 2030, entailing massive solar deployments that gobble up silver at 20 grams per panel. As electric vehicles, another AI-integrated sector, proliferate, incorporating silver in batteries and electronics, the cumulative demand creates a perfect storm, where AI isn't just a consumer, but the catalyst for a broader industrial renaissance. Yet, amid this euphoria, curiosity builds around the supply side, where geological limits collide with human ambition, setting the stage for dramatic price escalations. Silver isn't mined in isolation. 70% comes as a byproduct of copper, zinc, and lead operations, meaning production can't simply ramp up on demand without broader mining expansions that face environmental hurdles and regulatory scrutiny. In 2025, total silver supply hovered around 1 billion ounces, but forecasts from the Silver Institute project persistent deficits through 2030, with demand climbing to 1.3 billion ounces as AI and cleantech sectors expand. The Science Direct study paints an even starker picture. By 2030, supply might cover only 62-70% of projected 48,000 to 54,000 tons annually, with solar alone claiming a lion's share, but AI data centers emerging as the wild card, potentially adding hundreds of millions of ounces in unforeseen consumption. Emotional tension rises with accounts from mining executives, like those at Pan American Silver, who describe depleted reserves and rising extraction costs, compounded by geopolitical shifts, BRICS nations stockpiling silver as a hedge against dollar dominance, further tightening availability. This scarcity narrative evokes historical parallels. The 1980 Hunt brothers attempt to corner the market, spiking prices to $50 before crashing. But today's drivers are organic, rooted in technological necessity rather than speculation. As AI adoption accelerates, McKinsey estimates 70% of companies will integrate it by 2030. The demand curve steepens, creating suspense over whether innovation can adapt or if prices will skyrocket to ration the metal. Now let's pivot to the economic implications, where logical threads connect supply crunches to price prophecies. Building toward our climax, historical silver prices offer clues, from the $1 per ounce in the 1960s to peaks above $40 in 2011 amid financial crises. Volatility has been the norm, but the AI era introduces structural changes. In 2025, the metal's 120% surge was fueled by AI announcements, Nvidia's quarterly earnings revealing billions in data center revenues, each tied to silver-intensive hardware. Analysts at Light Finance project aggressive scenarios, $133 per ounce by 2030, with bullish outlooks exceeding $200, predicated on AI's unchecked growth and persistent deficits. Why $200 specifically? It's a convergence point, if demand outstrips supply by 30-40% as forecasted. Basic economics dictates exponential price rises to balance markets. Especially with silver's dual role as industrial staple and investment haven, emotional highs peak in investor testimonials. Retirees who bet on silver ETFs, seeing portfolios double, or speculators warning of the great squeeze, where data centers' insatiable needs force mining innovations or substitutions that fall short. Transitions to global perspectives. China's dominance in solar manufacturing consumes vast silver quantities, while U.S. tech firms lobby for domestic mining to secure supplies, adding layers of international intrigue. As we approach the climax, the narrative crescendos with the final boss metaphor fully realized. AI as the unbeatable adversary whose victory demands a tribute in silver, guaranteeing the $200 threshold. Imagine a near-future tipping point. By 2028, AI data centers alone could require 200 million ounces annually, per extrapolated Silver Institute data, eclipsing even solar's draw and widening deficits to unprecedented levels. Supply chains strain under this load. Mines in Mexico and Peru, the top producers, report declining ore grades, while new projects in Australia and Canada face years of delays from permitting battles. The emotional pinnacle arrives in hypothetical scenarios, a world where AI-driven blackouts occur, not from power shortages, but material ones, forcing rationing that stalls medical breakthroughs or autonomous transport. Yet, data centers' vertical integration, companies like Meta building their own facilities, locks in demand, making $200 not a possibility but an inevitability. As market forces adjust to reflect true scarcity value, experts concur. Oxford Economics sees industrial demand rising steadily through 2030, with AI as the accelerant, while Blanchard Gold notes silver's irreplaceable edge in high-performance computing. In the satisfying denouement, we reflect on this saga's broader canvas, where AI's triumph over human limitations comes at a cost that enriches some while challenging others, urging a balanced path forward. The $200 silver price, guaranteed by the unyielding logic of data center expansion, signals a new era of resource awareness. Investors flock to physical bullion or mining stocks. Economies diversify away from over-reliance on tech. And innovators explore silver recycling from e-waste, potentially mitigating the crunch. Yet the emotional resonance lingers. AI, our creation, becomes the final boss, not through malice, but necessity, reminding us that progress is a double-edged sword, forged in silver's shine. As the credits roll on this digital odyssey, one truth endures. The metal that once built empires now powers the minds that will shape tomorrow. And in that alchemy lies both peril and promise for generations to come. Well, thank you for staying with me till the end. Here on The Scope, we dig past the headlines and uncover the hidden layers history tried to bury. If this documentary made you think differently, hit subscribe. Your support tells me to keep creating deeper investigations. Share this video with someone who loves powerful, untold stories, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. A new, even stronger documentary is already on the way. So stay curious, and I'll see you again soon, right here on The Scope.